Hello, I'm Reverend Marilyn Morgan, and I've put out a few, I guess they call these vlogs before, and I wanted to put a couple more out as the least and best that I can do at this point, and my focus now is about the equinox and the solstice coming up. So the equinox is coming up in a few days. I'm looking at the date down there. It's 9/19, 2012, and the fall equinox is a very sacred time for the pagan community, for the Druids, for the Wiccans, and for most of us. It is a crossover period where fall meets, or summer meets fall and crosses over, and the trade off begins. Uh, and so I want to go over a few things with you. I don't have anything written down in front of me, so I'll just go by memory. Uh, First of all, when you are looking at the equinox, it lines up with the spring equinox and the fall equinox, and it falls on the 22nd of September, where I live, and the approximate time I don't have a specific, I would imagine just on the day. And the point is, from sunrise to to midnight. So, well, really from midnight to midnight. And if you get up and do your magic in the dark, so to speak, and your ceremony, it would be from 12 midnight to the following 12 midnight. So for the entire day, you could still do ceremony. Some people do it for an entire week. This is the feast of Saint Michael. That's why I was saying not just the pagans. This is a Catholic and other denomination honoring. So, and people love the idea of fall starting. Not everybody goes into the celebration to do a ceremony, but it's also the balancing between the two worlds, the sacred part of this equinox, and especially being in 2012, is that the portals of ascension will happen at this time, and this is when you will be able to do a lot more work. A quickening happens anyways, but the idea, the Mayan prophecy or Mayan prophecy, was that in 2012 things would happen, and I've been predicting this for years, since the early 80s, and going and talking about this and ghostwriting about it and networking about it and instigating a lot of the investigation in this. So it would be fitting that I would still be involved in this. Having this not being my most extroverted point in my life or year, I'm in a 7 year, and my progressed moon is in Scorpio. So most of my work is good behind the scenes and in prayer, and my energy is different. So when you study that, what a 7 year is, or what progressed moon in Scorpio that lasts a couple of years, as a personal transiting moon through your chart, it's usually quite different. It's a good time for transformation. Now you can look up and go and Google and find all the different sites and all the different places, and that I have helped put out the information, especially the ghost written books and Wikipedia and about.com, but a lot of information about astrology, numerology. It's free. Go check it out. Go to your public library and check out books on this that I've ghost written about the subjects. So look at your progressed moon, where it's at now. Look at what numerology personal year you're in now, and check everything else out about it to just let you know about what I'm talking about with that for me. So, with enough said there, it's certainly for me a very spiritual time, very transforming, but I don't feel like going out and being in public too much. So, I do work events, I worked a few, and to let you know, when you're in an introverted phase, when you want to do something to help others, you walk out of your comfort zone. If it means it's important, don't stay home if your chart says it's a good time, and stay home and you feel all withdrawn and everything. If you need to go out for a reason and you're being told by God and you get that you need to go out and do something to help the community or to help others, please show up. But useless, you know, extroverted partying or being out there socially certainly isn't advised on times where the need is to go within and meditate more. That's all I'm trying to get at. Now, as far as all of us in 2012, we're in a 5 year, it's certainly an extroverted year. And to do the numerology, I would say for 922, 9 and 4 is 13, and that goes to 4. And 2012 is 5. So it is a 9 day, yet 4 and 5 together, and you get a completion. There's something about that day that is a completion in the prophecies of Mother, Father, God, Divine Feminine. Again, I want to let you know, Divine Feminine gave birth to Mother, Father, God. So the divine, it's more of a Zen idea. The beginning of God is very feminine and nondescript and very Zen-like. So the divine mysteries. That's why it's hard to put a finger on it and hard to understand God as just a male deity, because it gets the divine feminine. And so, being a feminist that I am by nature and just by understanding the truth, is that look, women in our society have been denied for way too long and the voice taken away. And I'm here to give women in general a voice and be a voice for women. And of course, the women's rights and women's movement, but people's rights too, civil rights and animal rights and rights of every individual, freedom of religion. Definitely, I get into the multi-faith, but this is something we need to embrace, that we are all one, because you're letting go of ego at these ceremonies. The idea is to let go of the concept that you are so unique, you're separate from me and everyone else, and you know all and nothing else or nobody else does. Then you're working on ego. You seem to get this God complex that, oh, and you don't listen to others, and then you're listening to a falsity when you're not. I channel God's words and direction, and I was doing a reading for someone who was wonderful, but they did say to me, I said, do you know how to channel? They said, that's what I pay you to do. I said, well, you should still be getting, with your left side, your left ear, God's messages and getting instruction and warnings. Don't walk in front of traffic. So you need to develop your divine intellect, your psychic mediumship. That is natural. I'm not saying to be a professional psychic medium like I am. And this is something that I went kicking and screaming when I was saved by God, when I didn't die from ovarian cancer, and a large vision of Christ said, have faith, Marilyn, things will get better and everything will be all right. And they did, and I healed. We will do another thing about that, because I'm in a, and soon, because YouTube will not post these if they're too long, and I have a lot to tell you. So this is part 1, and you can barely see it, but that's my family in the background, and a family picture, and I live with my mother, And my youngest son, my oldest son's getting married. I'm just an everyday person like you. I have a family. I used to pay a mortgage when I owned a house for quite a few years, and I lived in one and paid one on my own. I paid my taxes. Um, I am Christian. I do go to the Methodist church with my mother. I go to any and every church. That's great. But, I'm not that freaky that people should separate from me and think, oh, well, what does she know? I've lived among everybody. That was the point. I was meant to come back here and live with everybody, not removed. Had I been wealthier or staked claim to the wealth that I made in my ministry fund and use that for personal gain instead of giving it away, the majority of it, and then investing it still. Uh, it hasn't all been spent, but it's been tucked away and I can't get to it, so don't come running to me with your hand up thinking I've got access to money right now, which I don't. But the idea is being frugal, putting your money away for a rainy day, making hay while the sun shines, and getting out there and working really hard on every aspect, mind, body, and spirit. And the spirituality of money is important. Make peace with your money, take care of your body. What good is being spiritual if your physical vehicle is not healthy? Um, there's nothing wrong with being attractive, but the love of money or the vanity of thinking that beauty is all and how you look is most important. What's more important than being one of the beautiful people is being one of the really beautiful people where you're beautiful inside. So this is part one of the fall solstice on 9/22/2012. Namaste.